Time to talk about One Punch Man.
Do we have to?
Okay. I took your advice and, well, I did it my own way and went on YouTube and saw a season one, season two comparison
For the
and
intros? Or for the animations?
for the animation.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say that the animation is completely awful. Compared to season one,
It's a step
eh,
down.
yeah, it's a step down, but it is still good animation.
What I feel like is it's par for the course, whereas season one felt like it was a step above. That's where I was at with it. Like we've gone from being a step above to going to this is just par for the course now.
And I'm thinking, okay, this is a different studio,
Mm-hmm.
taking that into consideration.
I mean, even taking that into consideration, I'm not seeing where the budget's going at this point. Because even most of the fight scenes are just kind of generic feeling to a point. Like there's a couple here and there, and it's only certain points in that fight where it seems like there's a little bit of a budget increase.
Yeah,
But there's not like a full blown fight where it's like, holy shit, this is great. Oh my god, look at that Saitama freaking versus Genos fight. Where's that shit?
yeah. I've seen a few clips of that in the comparison.
Like that fight alone was amazing. The Boros versus Saitama fight at the very end of season one. That was amazing. Where's that? Like,
Well,
where's the budget for that at right now?
we did get a little bit of the webcomic Saitama in today's episode,
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's not animation. That's just a style change.
which you wanted a little bit more of.
Yes, I wanted a little more of it. In this episode, we did. Are we actually recording at this point or no?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, like, if we're not recording, I want to save this for when we're recording. No, but we got some of that. We got some of that hard. Like, this episode had good shadowing, right? There was some good
Yes.
shading in certain scenes. That was amazing. That was great. I was happy with that. The thing was, we're still not getting animation like what we saw in season one. We haven't seen the peaks of animation that season one had in season two at all.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, season one had its low points too, where
Mhm.
their animation would come down to about where season two is at right now. What I want to know is where's all the budget going for animation in season two? Because right now I'm not seeing it.
But I also heard that season one wasn't done by the top tier Madhouse people, so maybe.
Even then, that should speak even more volumes about what the top tier would have done with it.
Yeah. Good point.
But yeah, no, this episode we get a bunch of different things. I will point out that there's also a lot of stuff that kind of gets skipped in this too. Again, like the
Mm,
guys that are waiting outside during our what was it, the swordsman meeting, right?
yes.
They have like an entire scene where they're talking among each other, letting you know what's been going down with like Atomic Samurai and the others.
And apparently, if you eat monster cells, you become a monster yourself.
What I'm assuming is that like once it's introduced to the body, it starts acting like a cancer and taking over.
Oh, okay.
That's my assumption. I can't tell you any details because I didn't read far enough in the manga to know.
It like rewrites your DNA with its.
Yes, like
Okay.
almost actually a good way to think of it is like how a virus reproduces, where a virus injects a bacteria with its own DNA in order to reproduce through that bacteria.
Oh,
You can think of it that way. That's a good way to look at
I was happy. Tsubaki came back.
it. Yeah, actually, she has a couple of interesting lines in there too that got shuffled around a bit. She's still coming off as kind of like an asshole in this, whereas in the other one, in the manga, she's more along the lines of like, "Do your job fucking right, you idiots." Where it's
But
like,
she's Sundari. Come on.
she's still tsundere by saying that, but she's being a like somewhat kind tsundere in that her intentions are to make you a better hero. In this one, she's just telling you to fuck off and get out of here. You're wasting my time and everyone's time.
but what was the swordsman Flashy Flash? I think.
Yes, Flashy Flash. More or less everything happens the same way there. The only difference between That part is when he's talking to Tsubaki, and it's literally just like it's the fact that when he says the whole thing about stealing his kill, she's technically still there,
Mm.
and then she just takes up and says, "You're not worth my time."
But I would think that Flashy Flash would be one of my favorite heroes
Why? Because he's flashy.
because he's a swordsman. Swordsman fighters are cool.
But what about the springy swordsman in the other episode?
Refresh my memory. What was his name?
I don't remember what his name was, but he was in the fight with Garo when that slingshot dude was fighting him, and he stepped in near the end,
Oh yeah, he was
and he
kind
got his
of
ass
cool
handed.
too.
And he had like the fancy twirly mustache that you just want to twirl.
He was more of a fencer though, wasn't he?
Technically, yes, but it's still a sword. Like a fencing sword is still a sword. It's just a different type. It's a piercing sword rather than a slashing sword.
Okay, let me redefine myself. I like slashing swords and not stabbing swords.
Well, I mean, technically, your slashing swords are also stabbing swords because they got a point at the end.
You love poking holes in my logic.
Hey, look, all right. I'm just telling you the facts here, okay? You want to get down to the nitty gritty? Fucking medieval swords were meant more for piercing than slashing anyway. Because fucking somebody's gonna come up to you in a freaking breastplate, full on plate armor, and your slashes aren't getting through that. You gotta stab. You gotta pierce the armor. And even then, you gotta make sure you go for like the grooves in the armor where it's bending. Because that's where your weakest point's gonna be. There is a reason why those things were meant to be held that way, because you could not fight a man in armor because they were like a tank. You're not beating that on your own.
Oh, and speaking about tanks, that pig god guy,
Oh, him? Yeah.
does he have the ability of eating anything?
I'm assuming that's the case because the manga doesn't explain any more than that either.
Because that kind of reminds me of one of my dad's old comics because he had like one or two collector's issues of, I believe it was Legion of Superheroes, and I just remember one matter eater lad who apparently could eat and digest anything.
That's a terrible name for it, but the power is kind of amazing. I assume it's anything he could fit in his mouth.
Yes. And that's how Pig God seems, that he was able to digest the poison.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, what was the other one I was looking? Oh, there's a side story that we don't have in this that's actually pretty good too.
Okay.
That popped up. That involves King, our favorite character.
Oh, I'm disappointed we don't see more of him.
I know these side stories that flesh them out is really great. It's too bad they don't show up in the actual show.
But I guess when they only have a allotted episode budget of 12 episodes this season, some of the side material needs to be cut out so they can fit all they can into the 12 episodes.
Oh, I get that. My point would still be that you're cutting out parts of the main plot that flesh out characters.
But then what would you cut?
I wouldn't cut. That's the difference.
But you needed to squeeze it all into 12 episodes.
I wouldn't, because I would do the series right, bring it up to the point that we can get it to within that time frame. If I can shorten things, I will, but I'm going to try not to cut anything that seems like it would be important for world building.
But what if TV Asai or wherever it airs says, okay, you have 12 episodes to do this. Will you say, no, I want more? Or
I would argue with them to get a second season, like on top of what we've got. I would argue to say, if you want this done right, we do it in 2. Or you give me more episodes.
Okay, so you would like fight them for it.
I would fight for more. I would fight for more airtime, more episodes. Because if they want to have One Punch Man be as good as it was in the first one, I would argue for more.
Okay, okay.
Especially because like they're up against the wall in that they don't have the original studio to go to.
So you would have a bit of leverage.
There would be leverage. I mean, obviously they could take it somewhere else if they really wanted to, but that's their own risk. But yeah, getting back to like the King side story. Honestly, some of these I would just throw out as like shorts if it was going to be anything else, like like a 5 minute short or
Like
something.
an OVA?
No, like how we were watching like those short when we did
Oh yeah.
anime fuck haiku anime. We
Yeah, I
did
think it
those
was called
shorts
that.
like that,
Okay.
like 5 minute shorts. Because this one was basically like King dealing with hired assassins that were coming to kill him. So King's basically there. He's in a restaurant. He's typing away on a laptop. He gets up, and suddenly we're like seeing this assassin group that's here to like kill him off, and they're all thinking things like, "Man, we got all this money to take care of King. We just got to make sure he's out, and we'll get it. Oh, it's gonna be so great, right?" And then King's walking around, and he'll sit down. He's like, "Wait, he moved. Why did he move? Does he know we're here?" Anyway, it goes over. He talks to a waitress, and it's like, and the waitress walks off, and like, shit. Did he tell the waitress to get out of here so that way she wouldn't get hurt? And in reality, he's just told her that my melon soda's late. My melon soda hasn't shown up yet. I've been waiting like this long. Where's my melon soda? Like,
Melon soda is a thing in Japan that I'm slightly disappointed of because, granted, I don't drink soda a lot, but I prefer the fruit flavored sodas, and melon is one flavor that's not in America except at the Coke factory in Chicago. Atlanta.
uh-huh.
And with like the flavors of the world section.
Either you or I. It's either with you or someone else. But I'm surprised they haven't like just made it an online thing that you could buy it online and they'll ship it to you.
You can buy it direct from Japan if that's what you mean.
But why couldn't I just buy it from down there online and have them ship it to me? Like, why couldn't I go to the Coca-Cola online store and buy it there and have them ship it
That's
to me?
a good point. We should petition for melon cola.
Like like people like you and me and anyone else that wants to try these crazy flavors would literally do that so they don't have to go all the way to Georgia to get it.
Or the internet.
Yeah, or pay like fucking thousands of dollars to get a secondhand one from Japan. Because God knows the shipping to get it over here is going to be expensive in and of itself, especially for a single bottle.
Yeah, or a 6-pack.
Or even a 6-pack. It's still going to be expensive as shit. Especially because you know that if they're selling to Americans, they're going to try and scalp that price a bit. Because they got to make money too, but they're going to make it as much as they can. But yeah, no. Getting back to King, right? There's a point where he's like, "Oh man, I gotta take a leak," and he walks up, and here, like one of the assassins has gotten up and is just like, "That's all right. I just gotta pull my knife and take him out. I just gotta do this here." And King in his head is thinking like, "Shit, is this guy a fan? Fuck. If I make a scene here in a restaurant like this, everyone's gonna notice me because he's in incognito mode right now.
Yeah.
You know, hat on, sunglasses. He's trying to hide who he is." Because he doesn't want to attract attention. Like you can hear the King engine starting up, this heartbeat just slamming in his chest the whole time, and the assassin's just like, "Shit, that's the King engine. Oh man, I'm freaking out here, dude." And then King's like, "Shit, all right, look, I'm gonna have to like settle this down now." And he starts talking to him like the assassin's like gonna pull the knife out of his shirt because he's got like a suit on. He's reaching in and he's gonna pull it out. King puts his hand on the guy's arm before he pulls the knife, and he's like, "Look, you don't want to do this here, all right? I'm here on my own time. We don't want to get involved in this kind of thing right now." And the guy's like, "Shit, he knows." By the end of it, the assassins think King is sparing the group because he doesn't want to get the people involved and he doesn't want to kill them just outright for nothing. And the group's just sad head down, walking out of there, just being like, "He got us. He's so strong, he didn't even need to hit us. He just had to talk." And meanwhile, King's just like, "Finally, I can take a piss." And it's even better because apparently one of the assassins was posted outside to not let anyone else in. And there's Saitama, who's going there to meet King, who's like dealing with this bouncer guy that the assassins set up and punching him out because he's refusing to let him go in. And it's like, well, fuck you, you're not allowed to go in. You look like a guy that needs a good beating. So Saitama knocks him out, and he's gonna like drag him over to set him against a wall. And the assassins see him, and they're just like, "You, we couldn't take down King. We're gonna take out our anger on you." And you can imagine how that goes. But the end result is that like Saitama finally gets in the restaurant. He's finally talking to King, and he's like, "Cool, we're here to play video games together." Shit, you're still too good for me, King. I still can't win. And Saitama basically tells him, "Look, I'll come back in a week. I need to train more." And King's just like, "Fine, I'll be your opponent anytime."
And speaking about opponents, Suryu, he seems to be a worthy-esque adversary, even though he got knocked out by Saitama's hip, of all things.
I want to say that's a Monster Hunter reference so badly, but I don't think it is. Because there's a monster in Monster Hunter called the Plesioth, or Plesioth, depending on how you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing has fucking hips for days. There's a few monsters that do that move, but like they hip check you. Where they're like, you know, slam their hips to one side. And the Plesioth is the worst offender of the bunch because he has huge hitboxes. It would feel like you're meters away from this guy and where that hip ends, and he's still hitting your ass. But yes, that happens. There was a bit of difference in the dialogue that Suryu gives, in that he says, when he's like talking heroes down, he's basically saying like, this is just my honest truth of how I feel about this. And then he goes on to say, like, you should probably take this as advice from someone who lives a carefree lifestyle.
And Saitama still gets mad?
Oh yeah, it's still the same result. Saitama's still pissed.
Mm.
Like, the dialogue's slightly different, but it's only to, like, a degree of translation difference, I would say.
So martial arts is all about cool poses and moves?
Yep.
Here, let me try.
Hip check. Into the wall.
And of course his wig falls off.
Of course it does. Like, you're telling me you didn't think that was going to happen the minute he put it on?
I can see it coming a mile away.
That was another interesting thing that was mentioned. When he took off the wig and he's like, "Oh man, this wig is making my head itchy," right?
Uh-huh.
In the manga, he actually comments on the quality being kind of shit and being disappointed in it.
Just like you are for this season.
It's not showing me any peaks yet. It feels like valleys.
Well, just think. It's not cash-in sins.
I had purged that from my mind. Why did you bring it back? I had purged that from my mind.
I'm sorry.
Why did you bring it back?
And on that note, before you kill me, let's end it.
No! Why? I don't want this back in my brain. Get rid of it. Ugh.
Come back next week for more One Punch Man. Later.
Get it out.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to take the brain bleach again. I got rid of that memory. Why did you bring it back?
I'm sorry?
No, you're not. Don't lie to me.